Just about daily, we are hearing news about climate change as well. And I think we each are afraid to think about it because I think deep down we know that soon we will be beyond the point of being able to make a measurable difference. And this has the possibility of kind of freezing us and stunning us into inaction. The problem is so immense and frightening that it can seem overwhelming. The good news is that all of these issues are interconnected. The economy, the upcoming election, and the environmental crisis are linked. The common thread is the way of life as exemplified by American citizens. And that's us. That's me, and that's each one of you. Not only someone in Nebraska or South Carolina or New York City or Montana, but us. So I feel the need to state aloud that I feel that we're going to need to prepare ourselves for a change of lifestyle that will be very dramatic. And we're going to need one another's support in order to be able to do that. At our congregational meeting last Sunday, we had a discussion about the revision of the principles and purposes. Now, these are listed on the back cover of your order of service as they currently exist in this box on the back cover of your order of service. For those of you who might not have been at the meeting or who might need a reminder, the bylaws of our association, the Unitarian Universalist Association, mandate that the principles and purposes be revisited every decade. And they have not yet been revisited since they were initially created, and so we're overdue for looking at them. All of our congregations have been invited into conversation about the principles and purposes, and through a process of already getting feedback, there's been a proposal for a revision to the existing principles and purposes. And individual Unitarian Universalists are encouraged to provide their own feedback and commentary about the proposed changes. There's a way to do that online, or if you contact the church office, you can be given the paperwork so that you don't have to go online to do it. But the deadline is very soon. I believe it's Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. The process is going to continue on for some time because we want to take this very seriously and have the opportunity to look at it further. So at this upcoming General Assembly, which is in Salt Lake City, and I hope we'll all get to go because it's closer than it might be if it were further away. At this coming General Assembly, this proposal for these principles and purposes will be brought before the delegates at General Assembly. If the vote passes this year, then it will move forward and go through another process, and then the next General Assembly, it will be made official if 2/3 of the people present vote to pass it. Just to give you a brief sense of how the democratic process works in our association at large. Okay, all of that was a precursor for saying this. I was asked last week at the congregational meeting which proposed adjustment to the principles and purposes I felt was most important. And I felt myself totally unprepared to answer that question on the spot. But I do want to answer it now. Very often, people state when I ask them which principle is the one that is closest to their heart, invariably it will either be the 7th principle, which you can look on your sheet to see, is the interdependent web of all existence, or the 1st principle, which is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The proposed adjustment to the 7th principle in the new set of principles reads as follows. There's a subheading, so it remains the same at the top. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Then it says, inspired by the beauty and holiness of the earth, we become more willing to relinquish material desires. We recognize the need for sacrifice as we build a world that is both just and sustainable. We are called to be good stewards, restoring the earth and protecting all beings. I find myself challenged in a good way by this elaboration, and I have often felt that if we began to live as if we truly understood ourselves connected to this larger web of all existence, then our lifestyles would become simpler. We would become more willing to relinquish material desires. We would participate in the healing and restoration of the earth. We would recognize the need for greater sacrifice in these times. So on your own, in the coming weeks when you find yourself getting anxious, I invite you to return again to the sung prayer and meditation which Wendy taught to you earlier. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. And I invite you to hold these questions in your heart. How much is enough? What do I need? What does my religious and spiritual self say about the political issues of today? How can I demonstrate my care for the environment in my daily life? By making concrete choices which affirm the interdependent web. May this community be a place of support for you as you live out these questions and push up against them and create your own list of sacred questions. And may we inspire one another to continue doing so, even when, or especially when, the times are this hard. We are the ones we have been waiting for, and this is our time.